They laughed the first day she arrived. Laughed at the tiny butterfly tattoo on her arm, laughed at the idea that someone like her could survive the brutal world of SEAL training. To them, she was too soft, too quiet, too ordinary. But none of them knew the truth. They weren't watching a failure in the making. They were witnessing a storm quietly gathering strength. And when the commander stepped forward and raised his hand in a salute meant only for warriors of the highest honor, every single person who mocked her stood frozen, because they finally understood who she really was. The tattoo they mocked. The sun beat down mercilessly on the training grounds, making every grain of dirt feel like fire beneath their boots. Among the ranks of determined faces stood Elara Quinn, 27 years old, her brown hair tucked neatly beneath her issued cap, and the small butterfly tattoo on her right arm peeking out from under her sleeve. To her, it was a symbol of survival, but to the others, it was something cute, delicate, and unfitting for the battlefield. The comments came in whispers at first, then in open smirks, then in outright laughter. "Hey, butterfly girl," one trainee snickered as they ran laps. "You sure you're in the right place?" Elara didn't answer. She just kept running, lungs burning, legs shaking. Mind replaying the promise she'd made years ago, the one carved into her memory on the night she nearly lost everything. She wasn't here to prove anything to them. She was here to prove something to herself. But the bullying didn't stop. During obstacle runs, they'd slow down just to mock her pace. In water drills, they'd splash her, not playfully, but harshly, almost daring her to break. And every time she stood in formation, she could feel their eyes drifting to that tattoo, as if it was a mark of weakness. Only one person treated her differently. Troy Maddox, a quiet trainee with sharp eyes and a quieter heart. He noticed the way she clenched her jaw every time someone laughed. He noticed that she trained longer, harder, and later than everybody else. He noticed that she never reacted. Not even once. One evening, after hours of punishing training, he finally approached her. "You don't have to take that from them," he said softly. Elara paused mid-push-up, sweat dripping from her forehead. "I'm not here for them." "Then who are you here for?" She glanced at her tattoo, tracing the ink lightly with her thumb. "For the girl I was and the woman I'm trying to become." And that was the moment Troy realized. Elara wasn't bending. She was transforming. The days that followed grew harsher. The instructors pushed them to their physical breaking points, and the cold ocean swallowed their bodies until their bones ached. Every step felt like a war. Every breath felt like permission to continue. But Elara held on, using every insult as fuel, every challenge as a stepping stone. Still, despite her quiet strength, the others remained blind. They saw only a woman with a fragile tattoo, not the resilience beneath it. They mocked her again during a particularly brutal drill, Hell Week's endurance test. The wind howled, the waves crashed violently. And yet she refused to quit. "Why don't you just ring the bell?" Another trainee taunted. "You're not built for this." But Elara only whispered to herself, "I didn't come this far to break." By the end of the week, several trainees had already quit, but she was still standing. Exhausted, trembling, but unbroken. They couldn't understand it. They wouldn't accept it. But soon, they would have no choice. The salute that silenced them all, graduation day, arrived under a blazing sky. The remaining trainees stood in formation, battered but proud. Elara stood among them, calmer than she had ever been. Her uniform was crisp, her tattoos still visible, and her eyes held a depth that only those who had survived hell could carry. Whispers spread like wildfire. "How did she make it? She must have gotten lucky. No way she passed the same tests we did." But all their doubts died the moment the commander walked onto the field. A man known for harsh standards and zero sentiment, he had never saluted a trainee before, not even the top graduates. The air stilled as he approached the group. His boots thudded softly on the dusty ground, tension rising with every step. And then, he stopped right in front of Elara. Her heart jumped. The entire formation stiffened. The bullies stared, confused. The commander looked her in the eyes, steady, respectful, almost proud. Without a word, he lifted his hand and saluted her. A ripple of shock tore through the crowd. The commander, saluting her. Elara blinked, stunned. She had prepared herself for everything except this. She returned the salute with perfect form, her hand steady even as her breath trembled. "Trainee Quinn," the commander said, his voice deep and unwavering. Your record speaks for itself. You completed every drill with the highest endurance score. You outperformed half this line in water survival. And during the night rescue simulation, you saved 3 lives. A gasp echoed behind her. The mockers fell silent. The commander stepped back and added, "Your tattoo is not weakness. It's a reminder that strength often comes from the quietest places." Alara lowered her hand, her chest tight with emotion. For the first time, the others looked at her not with laughter, but with awe. The same trainees who mocked her tattoo now saw it as a mark of resilience. The same people who doubted her now stood speechless. Troy shot her a small smile from the line. She returned it, just barely. Because she finally understood something deep. She didn't need their approval. She only needed to become the person she promised she'd be. As the ceremony ended and the sun dipped low, the whispers changed. "Did you see that? She earned it. She's tougher than all of us." For the first time, their voices didn't hurt, they healed. And as Elora walked forward, her boots kicking up dust and her tattoo glinting under the fading sun, one thing became clear: the butterfly they mocked wasn't fragile. It had wings strong enough to rise above them all.